The next slide that I'm going to talk about is making a difference. This is going to be coming down to what we become as a teacher. Now that I've become close to being a teacher, I see some of the new teachers that come out, even in Suzanne's school now, my wife. The new teachers that are coming out, they have a whole different way of looking at things. They think the more that they put in front of the students, the better the teacher they think they are. I have a little bit of a problem with that, as the fact of, is that a good teacher or is that just an instructor? I think there's two differences. There's a difference between them two. It may not be a lot of difference between the two, but there is a difference. Good teaching to me is a person that comes into the classroom and is going to be prepared with the task that is at hand that day. I'm not going to say that an instructor will not have that. An instructor will be prepared too. I think a good teacher has creativity. Don't know if an instructor to me is going to be creative. I think they're basically going to be, this is the rules, this is the road, this is what we're doing. So maybe the creativity makes you a better teacher. It goes back to the stages of development and maybe Howard Gardner's, the linguistics, the spatial, knowing what makes kids tick and using creativity to get in touch with those senses. That would make a good teacher. Allowing a student to work hard, maybe not exactly have the correct answer at the end, but maybe really, really work hard and maybe forgive some of their mistakes after they've done it. It's all not, they didn't do all of it for naught. They did it for a purpose. They did it for a reason. They did it to become a better student. So, maybe a little forgiveness. Obviously, having compassion for students. Not every student that you come across is going to have the greatest parents in the world. They may not have the best away from school atmosphere to learn. Just allow students a little compassion on that part. Not to the extent whether you're being abused or you're going too far. Just a little compassion. I'm going to move on to what is true grit. I think we watched a little bit about true grit from a TED video. That was really something that has always stood out to me, is maybe not the smartest person in the class is the best person. I come from a little bit different type of learning scope, as maybe it took me a little harder time to learn what I needed to. But I did have the grit, the determination. I had the passion. Maybe the passion of the burning flame was not always the best, but there was a passion to learn. Maybe I've gained that passion now as I'm older, as more of a butane torch than the Zippo that I was carrying in high school. So to me, it's just determination. If you see a kid that is determined and they're just working their tail off, busting their hump, trying to get it, That's true grit. Again, may not be the best student in the class, may not come to them the easiest, but you can tell that, man, if it could just finally click for them, that they could actually do something. I had a teacher at parent teachers conference here just a couple weeks ago actually say that about Xavier, that you could tell that the kid worked his tail off, went home and he studied, and he did what he was supposed to. Maybe it just didn't always hit home, he maybe had to chew on it for a couple days before, oh yeah, I understand what X means now. Maybe take another couple days before X1 means this. It was a math teacher, so algebra 2, trigonometry, and them kind of things. So that's what to me is true grit. Just being there, being passionate, making sure you're giving it all your. What is a positive leadership? I think this goes back to a lot about good teaching. A lot of the same morals happen at that point. A good teacher, positive leadership. You want your kids to be, when they see you in the public, you don't want to be, you don't want to be in the paper for, lots of, things, and you don't want to really stick out as being somebody. You want to just be kind of a straight and narrow, positive leadership. Some of the kids will look up to, say, maybe someday that I can do that, or something that way. I feel like I have a positive leadership role. I think sometimes I don't get the benefit of the doubt, because I think a lot of people think you're wanting something from them or something that way. But I think as students that I'll have, I'll be a good leader. Being able to coach and everything a little bit now. I mean, I had high expectations from my kids, and I wanted them to act a certain way, and they were respectful. So that turns me into, that's where positive leadership comes from, is them type of things. And then the last one, are you a leader in your school? And again, that's just taking that role of coming to work every day. Maybe that you're not on your A game. Maybe you just had a really rough night with your 2-year-old son, and you just couldn't sleep, and you just didn't want to not come to school, because as a teacher, it's worse to go to school and make up some type of lessons, plans that need for another teacher, another substitute to come in and do. That's going to be harder than just dragging your butt out of bed, going to work, doing your work, and then coming home. Again, knowing you're not on your A game, but you still have to be there. Don't let it bring you down to your D game. Let it be your A game, as you see it all the time. That way, maybe a little of that will rub off. Maybe you'll find that one older teacher that's been there for 10, 15 years, not quite on their A game, but maybe you come in a little chipper, maybe, fist bump, that kind of thing. Maybe it'll just have them a little pick me up, like, oh yeah, I remember how that passion burned in me, and them kind of things. So, the leadership comes from within. Respect, showing respect, giving respect. Students will respect you in return. I see that now as being an internship and a substitute teacher, that I can go to a football game and there's 10, 15, 20 kids come by me, and they'll, oh, hey, Mr. Beret, that kind of thing. I may have not had a much of influence in their lives, but if they know me, then they'll know my daughter, maybe they'll know my son. That'll just kind of get that whole ball rolling for becoming a leader and showing that you're a leader in school. Moving on to the next slide.